Water is by far the most important of our body chemicals. A baby is about 70 to 80% water. A female about 45%. And a male about 60%. Because of this, the most important of all the mechanisms of homeostasis is osmosis, a natural behavior of water. When a cell membrane separates different volumes of water, containing different concentrations of chemicals, there is more water on one side of the membrane and less on the other. Water naturally flows from more to less. Osmosis requires no energy, but unchecked, it may represent a danger to the cell. Osmosis is a special case of a more general principle of molecular movement, diffusion. Oxygen molecules diffuse naturally from high concentrations to low concentrations, thus supplying the cell with a vital chemical for metabolism. Metabolic reactions in the cells produce carbon dioxide gas, which diffuses naturally towards the lower concentrations of carbon dioxide outside the cell. Homeostasis requires careful control of these mechanical processes, osmosis and diffusion. Exocytosis is one method of counteracting osmosis. Mobile, flexible, single cells like amoeba use exocytosis by means of contractile vacuoles which swell inside the cell. Then discharge excess water outside the organism. The reverse process is endocytosis. It's often used to engulf nutrients. But most cells in complex animals cannot easily move about. Instead, these cells use a process known as active transport to maintain concentrations that would be depleted by osmosis and diffusion. Active transport also carries small amounts of chemicals that cannot move by diffusion. Potassium is one such example. We consume 200 to 300 milligrams per day and lose about the same amount. More on a stressful day. That's from 1.5% to 5% of the body's supply. Active transport must move potassium from the ECF across the cell wall into the ICF where it's needed. This is accomplished by specialized proteins embedded in the cell membrane. These proteins require a fuel, adenosine triphosphate, or ATP, a molecule carrying available energy, which the protein uses to pump a potassium ion into the cell. This is active transport. In contrast, sodium ions tend to build up within the cell and have to be removed. In the same way, a protein pump uses ATP energy to eject sodium ions from the cell. All cells depend for survival on a friendly sea around them. The principal survival technique of complex organisms, homeostasis, means carefully balancing and adjusting a sea within. Of course, extremes outside every organism threaten this inner sea. In the next program, we will look at how homeostatic mechanisms guard the inner sea from the great outdoors.